Hello, Power fans! It's Mathonical going to join me for round 1 with Turbo Walls. Our opening hand is exactly what we want to see. It's got mana production into an Axebane Guardian and a Grizzly. All we need to do is find a way to get our Guardian having infinite mana, and we'll win. So we're going to go ahead and keep this one. Our opponent starts on a forest and plays an elf. The elves matchup is always a bit interesting, mainly because they're just going to try and kill us really quick, and we're going to try and combo, so it is like a little bit of playing solitaire on both sides, and whoever goes faster wins. We do have the benefit of being able to block things they play, so I guess that slows them down. On our turn, we ended up drawing an Axebane Guardian, which is fine. We do need to get our wall count up. Winding Way is absolutely fantastic. On our turn, we had the option to either play the Axebane Guardian or the Drawbridge plus Ranger. Personally, I'm going to go for the Drawbridge plus Ranger just because realistically it's not going to matter too much, but playing the Drawbridge means we might be able to sequence some crazy luck stuff off the top and win in one turn. So that's the main reason why we're going to start with that. In matchups that have removal, it's always going to be safer to play that one first as well, just because we'd prefer them to remove the Drawbridge than the Axebane Guardian. So on our turn, we're just going to go ahead, play the Guardian, give it haste with Drawbridge, and play another Guardian, get ourselves completely set up. So we ended up getting a fairly good nut draw off of our Winding Way because we found the Galvanic Alchemist. So next turn, we are completely lined up to win since we have all of the walls we need as well as the combo, and the Grizzly will eventually find the win. Our opponent attacked, we ended up just blocking because we've got excess of walls, and in case something terrible happens, we might as well. So here we go, we just get the Alchemist down, and then it's just a matter of tapping like a maniac to produce as much mana as we can, and Grizzly through our deck. So we're just going to produce a bunch, use a Grizzly a couple times. What we're going to do is anytime we find a wall, we're generally going to play it just because it makes the amount of clicks less, because every wall is going to produce an extra mana off of every tap. So it just ends up saving a little bit of time over the long term. Anything else I don't bother playing because there's no point, it doesn't help our combo in any way. And then after a number of iterations, we do eventually find the Drift of Phantasms off of the Vivien's Grizzly, and we just find ourselves the Bloodrite Invoker, get ourselves 56 mana, and hit them to win the game. And that's the combo. And that was a turn 4 kill. That happens fairly regularly, and a slower, like on average, turn 4 to turn 5 is where we're going to be looking to combo with a decent hand. So let's jump on over to game number 2. Looking at our sideboard, what we're going to be doing here is just bringing in the standard bearers. Nothing else really affects anything here. We don't want Ulamog's Crusher because they're going to be producing a lot of stuff that they don't mind sacrificing. So Ulamog's Crusher is actually a slower kill, and they can also just create things that are bigger than it, which is always, a problem. If we see them bring in any number of Viridian Longbows, we can always bring in the Gorilla Shaman just to prevent that, but to be honest, we should be fast enough that that shouldn't even be a consideration. So we're just going to take out 2 Shield Spheres for 2 Standard Bearers. Taking a look at our opening hand, this is looking pretty good. We're going to have a lot of mana production on the early turns, and then into Battlement plus Battlement's Winding Way. As long as that Winding Way ends up finding some nice stuff, that will win us the game. So usually in our opening hand, we're not looking necessarily for all the combo pieces, but we're looking for enough ways of getting mana so that way we can have some big turns later on. We're going to start on a mana production elf as usual. And then next turn, depending on what we draw, we're going to play Quirion Ranger plus a Battlement if we draw a Forest. And if we don't draw a Forest, we're going to play the Quirion Ranger and do some untap shenanigans to play a Battlement. Lead the Stampede means it's going to be even less likely that we're going to fizzle out in the future. And since we didn't draw land, we just go ahead and produce 4 mana that turn worth of stuff, which is fantastic. Our opponent does have the Timberwatch Elf, and because we've been playing Elves, I'm going to go ahead and Chump Block there. The biggest concern I have here is if they produce a wide enough board, or possibly find a Quirion Ranger of their own, if our life total is less than 20, they might just be able to one-shot us. So since we've got extra mana production at the moment, we're just going to go ahead and just throw that under the bus. Here we're going to go ahead and play a ton of mana production and start casting a Winding Way. Next turn we're looking to produce a ton of mana. So if the Lead the Stampede doesn't find us the win, then it's very likely that Grizzly might be able to dig us far enough down to find something as well. We don't need both Quirion Rangers at this point, since I did return a lot of forests last turn. So we're just going to once again toss that under the bus to keep our life total very high in case we don't get the win this turn. We ended up having a very bad Lead the Stampede there, only finding one card, but we're just going to go ahead and cast that. It will produce us extra mana. And Vivien's Grizzly. So this is where we're going to start looking, and anytime we find something like the Drawbridge, we're going to go ahead and play it, and then it just so happened that the very next card was the Galvanic Alchemist, which of course is going to give us the win, since it will allow us to produce infinite mana, and once again use Grizzly to tutor through our entire deck. Thank you for joining me in round 1, and I'll see you in the next one.